the first to know. Nsem-Pii TV.
You're busy for Baba Nsem-Pii TV. So you better ni accord the United States of America. President Trump, the current president of the United States of America. Now, you better enche bia yenya some form of diplomatic crisis with the United States, especially a PM social media between the current Minister of Foreign Affairs, Honorable Sam Ablakwa, and the Commissioner for Trade and Investment in the United States of America. One Okujeto Ablakwa Ntawantawabi. Ebekaya at a point in time na US Ghanaian embassy Washington DC closing it down because of certain fraudulent activities and Honorable Sam Ablakwa to United States say or meet with members of the diplomatic corps and resolve that issue. The Commissioner for Trade and Investment, International Relations, especially focusing on Africa. The two Honorable Sam Ablakwa and him say, and yet the eheni say over to two kwine and baby didn't come on such issues. Now the eheni say over ama wa buy and now current Minister of Finance ebetria American companies or diomoka 2022 and Ghana Eco PMO International Monetary Fund, the IMF, because of debt default. Now, sad debt default na Emma IMF for a granted Ghana external credit debt reform package of nearly $3 billion. Now, Eco PMO, some of the United States American companies Eco reporting this foreign commissioner said Ghana I say I'm more prioritize it Chinese companies over American companies. And or the bar between say Honorable Sam Ablakwa sa akwentu enye no na ehia na American companies are Ghana for ediom kan no hwe no muntria because IMF for aye certain disbursement na or even or person catch IMF for say so Ghana am focusing entria American companies e ka omudi omona subsequent disbursement boa Emma IMF for and yes allocations named by the Republic of Ghana. And now Honorable Sam Ablakwa reply now nkoye akoka this is Kwame Nkrumah's Ghana, we are sovereign, we are independent, need the kaka ho esanso ko train transatlantic slave trade ni na be mu. Say na sa niema na ye ka se na iron akohwehwehwe mpaase no. Say na enye complete. Say na a blacklisting e ba be PM in the year 2026 budget. United States of America or Congress and approve 2026 fiscal year budget. Now, as part of the budget, USAID, a organization here, create developing countries, huge sums of disbursements. Key major ones under USAID and Millennium Challenge Compact. Ghana a beneficiary during the years of 2000. President John Ajekum Kufuor so even President George Bush PM or Ghana yenya benefit in terms of N1 change in Yama because of certain thresholds I meet here a car the chair a car see now relationship no diplomatic ties no was very strong between the Ghana and the United States of America. After I say diplomatic ties no down the drain. Yes, I can. This publication echo into the details the blacklisting of Ghana. Ababeka Ruby to say Burkina Faso. Now could be a quotidian krona Ghana yedi omaka ho krapa ebeye owanwa all because of poor relations between the Ghanaian embassy and a Ghanaian consulate and the United States of America. Now this is not the first blacklisting. Blacklisting because so na USA almost supported Ghana's health ministry Oma cancel where the second blacklisting almost also there to the Republic of Ghana. And so now Ghana has been blacklisted from accessing United States foreign assistance for the 2026 fiscal year following its classification as ineligible by the Millennium Challenge Corporation. Millennium Challenge Corporation, a organization omodi certain conditions and a tuho and some omodi krobia kan for certain financial support and assistance by the United States government, currently head by President Donald Trump. Now, decision containing a report submitted to the U.S. Congress under Section 608A of the Millennium Challenge Act of 2003 cite Ghana's ongoing debt default as the basis of the restriction. The main issue Congressman raised here to Foreign Relations Minister Sam Okudzeto Ablakwa, and the main reason Millennium Challenge Corporation cancelled Ghana as part of the assistance program of United States for Edema developing nations. Now, according to reports, Ghana has been declared ineligible pursuant to Section 7012 of the fiscal year 2025 State Foreign Operations and Related Programs Appropriations Act, which bars aid to countries in debt default until they have concluded restructuring agreements with creditors. Yabekaya, President Mahama, and the current minister, Dr. Kesa Atoforsen, said the economy has rebounded. Na economy ni ku ye ni de kaka but na nkofo bebre raise issues say suppliers, creditors, one aban di omoka aban ni ntua enti wo de nkofo ka na wontua na de bia okura musika na so economy ni ku ye a economy na eko ye ni ye sen na eko United States government ni omo companies akasa say in spite of Ghana claim say economy eko ye a car or the United States companies ontua Inti Sadia almost hate at the Foreign Operations and Related Programs Appropriations Act. Cancel Ghana. Na we Ghana yen Ghana nkwa 17 other countries. Countries here, number 1, Burkina Faso, for definitely obvious reasons. Ana omode Ghana account. Guinea, Mali, Niger, Zimbabwe, and Venezuela. Enti hona afi de Ghana yakwa kudu. Yede yaka groupa Burkina Faso ka ho. Yede yaka groupa Guinea eka ho. Yede yaka groupa Mali eka ho. Yede yaka groupa Zimbabwe eka ho. And yede yaka groupa Venezuela eka ho. That are prohibited from receiving US economic assistance for legal, governance, or debt related reasons. Enti for governance reasons, clearly Burkina Faso, yes, military junta. You don't expect a democratic powerhouse like the United States of America each and every time they are providing aid and assistance to the government of Burkina Faso because of military junta for obvious reasons. Mali and so ye military junta so Guinea, Niger, Zimbabwe and so ye kai Zimbabwe land season Nsem-Pii seize a lot of lands from the old regime of Rhodesia and Venezuela, so another debt-stricken country. In Ghana, I have to say we are tickling ourselves and we are laughing because from the external point of view, in as much as the economy is rebounding, the United States classify Ghana in addition to Burkina Faso, Ghana in addition to Guinea, Ghana in addition to Mali, Ghana in addition to Zimbabwe, and Ghana in addition to Venezuela. Now, moving forward in the report, Yababa kind report in words verbatim. Say you will be ankase. Yeah, words in use. I say countries identified above as candidate countries, as well as countries that will be considered candidate countries, but for the applicability of legal provisions that prohibit U.S. economic assistance may be the subject of future statutory restrictions or determinations or change country circumstances that affect their legal eligibility for assistance under Part 1 of the Foreign Assistance Act by reason of application of the Foreign Assistance Act or any other provision law of FY 2026. Report in a statement taker. Inti just a Ghana decided say yabasa the way I will deal with our creditors in Kofwa Ghana ediomoka legibly between businesses, credible businesses. I think one of the companies a PMO in such discussions. A typical example like zipline. Zipline discussions also PM say one of the known American companies Ghana through legitimate business. A car yedi omo yentria. Now question these kind of companies are highly dependent on government. A car or do omo to survive because osha major businesses in the country no with government. And to say government the omoka na wentria, you are nearly collapsing the existing business within the Republic of Ghana. And a Foreign Relations Committee chairperson of the United States Congress, key member of President Trump government, a catcher Samuko to Ablakwa say point blank say net travels ne here so obehwe na Ghana a car a day American companies umbetria, but it fell on deaf ears. Ekoye we are Kwame Nkrumah's Ghana ene Kwame Nkrumah's Ghana yede akọ Burkina Faso level, Kwame Nkrumah's Ghana ede yanko akoju Mali level, Kwame Nkrumah's Ghana ede akoju Niger ena we Venezuela level in the Millennium Challenge Compact. Now Millennium Challenge Compact a government US government agency established to fight global poverty by promoting sustainable economic growth through compacts with developing nations. Inti say ombebua na Ghana a free third world country to developing country, and I say from middle lower income to middle higher income, and a lower income countries to middle lower income countries. Say these are the conditions that ASA will meet those conditions ye de sika we ba abere eba beboa nina eboa ema kroni eden etimi gina ne so based on these conditions man. A huge example say ne kan earlier President Kufuor Mreso a Millennium Challenge Compact provided one of the best roads in the Republic of Ghana, N1 going all the way to N6 all the way to the upper part and the northern part of the Republic of Ghana. Internet sa ejuma President Kufuor and then the New Patriotic Party in 2000 has been eroded to the decline, led by President Mahama, and key player in this regard, Honorable Samuel Ablakwa, due to the banter of words on a U.S. congressman Nyaye regarding the issue of debt payment of American companies. Now, MCC said these agreements provided significant grant funding, but eligibility conditional on a country's adherence to principles of democratic governance, economic freedom, and investment in human development. 3. Principles of democratic governance. In Ghana, any problem because change of government in as a result of elections, no matter how challenging elections ni na abekolo. Yeah, the elections any ye aban a free so edi aban foforo eba so. In that regard, na better than countries like Burkina Faso in the eyes of the United States of America. Economic freedom, a crowd to me, you allow market demand and supply to operate. For etiminya omo investment back omo timi invest here unfa so bo ento omo so enkasa omo timi price omo product this way and this way, but investment companies, American companies they about to ukronum omo no signing agreement say at this day a car or the betria in spite of these challenges you might have no so oko against this enya dia Millennium Challenge Compact will continue to engage in such business transactions with you. Anything in the United States of America are blacklisted Ghana. No person who the impact of this in terms of financial terms. Yanko say in the past, you secured 2 major compacts worth more than 860 million, supporting agriculture, transport, and energy reforms. Into that 3 billion loans where it comes in a form of grants sika de mawa untria back into 2 major compacts no ukanina boma Ghana yenya over 860 million and a baby they call agriculture, transport, and energy reforms. Now, country in blacklisting a stark reversal of fortunes in recent years. Ghana was celebrated as a model of the partner for the MCC, with its second impact signed in 2014, focusing on modernizing power sector and improving electricity. Now, suspension of eligibility in aid due to default now underscores the severity of the nation's fiscal challenges. Now, Ghana entered into a full-blown economic crisis in 2022, defaulting on most of its external debt obligations. This prompted the government to seek a $3 billion extended credit facility from the International Monetary Fund to restore its macroeconomic stability. While progress has been made in restructuring domestic debt, negotiations with international bondholders have dragged on, leaving the country technically in default. The US decision is seen by analysts as international community's impatience with Ghana in resolving the debt issue. Now, locally, certain analysts, civil society organizations, and friends of President Mahama's government, aka said, Sa Kati enye the first time na President Mahama etimi a handle in certain issues. Yenhwe statement omo render at the time at the United States of America, omo MCC agency decided to blacklisted the Republic of Ghana. CATS International, civil society organization, downplay the immediate impact of Ghana's blacklisting by the United States. Said the economy is resilient enough to absorb the shock in the short term. In his words, no, sika aban withholding from creditors, no, enough say ebetimi serve as a buffer in spite of MCC cancellation of Ghana from the Millennium Challenge Compact. Now, I say Mr. Apia Kusi Adomako, Director of West Africa Office of CATS International, explains that while the country will lose access to significant grant funding, government has in the past managed similar aid shortfalls by realigning expenditure and filling gaps through the national budget. The withdrawal of US aid support of about $30 million to Ghana's health and other sectors during the Trump administration, Mr. Adomako recalled that the government had to step in to replace the funding. And US aid canceled $30 million in Kofo in the NGO space are normally employed by US aid support grants funding in our lose job. But Mr. Adomako say President Mahama, of course, publicly directed current Minister of Finance, Dr. Kesato Forsen, said almost stepping in. Na baby a shortfall na one onye certain budget realignment na a binding stepping in and funded those gaps, especially in the health sector. When USAID withdrew, the finance minister was asked to make provisions in the budget to cover the shortfall. The same approach can be adopted with the MCC. Government can cut or realign expenditures in the short term to cushion the impact. Meanwhile, total of 87 countries and approval as candidates for support in the fiscal year 2026, according to reports. Enti Kura yeyi Ghana free mu approval over 87. Ghana ye among the minority 17 yeyi free. Over 87 year approval. Ekroni be Algeria, Angola, Armenia, Bangladesh, Belize, Benin, Bhutan, Bolivia, Botswana, and Burundi. Others ye Cape Verde, Cambodia, Cameroon, Central African Republic, Chad, Colombia, Comoros, Congo, Cote d'Ivoire, Democratic Republic of Congo, Djibouti, Ecuador, Egypt, El Salvador, Equatorial Guinea, Eswatini, Ethiopia, Fiji, Gabon, Gambia, Guatemala, Guinea-Bissau, Honduras, India, Munina ya approval for Millennium Challenge Compact support and Indonesia omuna ya approve omo but Ghana yede akwa Venezuela, Mali, Niger and Burkina Faso. We a reporter Millennium Challenge Compact or release in the United States Congress. Honorable Sam Okudzeto Ablakwa yente we on this issue from him.